The Corolla is the best-selling nameplate in the history of the automotive industry for numerous reasons. Besides always being an excellent value-for-money choice, this model survived all these decades because of Toyota's readiness to adapt to changes in the automotive market. During all these years, we saw all kinds of configurations under this badge, different body styles, different drivetrains, and more. And now, in the era of SUVs, it was just a matter of time before we would see a more practical Corolla with increased ground clearance. Stay with us as we take a look at the all-new 2024 Toyota Corolla Cross, a model that elevates the compact SUV experience. In a world where a vast majority of consumers want an SUV, this was the most logical outcome. The super popular sedan/hatchback/wagon got a crossover version, but rather than offering just increased ground clearance, Toyota used the famous moniker for something that differentiates a lot, at least when it comes to the exterior design. The 2024 Corolla Cross continues in the same way as the initial model, introduced 2 years ago, with classic SUV proportions and a front face that offers a pretty conservative design approach with quite conventional headlights and grille design. There's nothing astonishing about the look. Just like the regular Corolla, this compact crossover doesn't have ambitions to win a beauty contest. It's designed to be the most rational choice in the segment. Therefore, it shouldn't surprise you either that the 2024 model comes without more important updates. The aesthetics are the same, while the key difference comes in a few additions in terms of standard equipment. Practically, the biggest novelty is that the mid-range and range topping trims, LE and XLE, come with new Qi wireless charging. On the other hand, just like the styling, the mechanical aspect remains rather unchanged. In this aspect, the Corolla Cross has way more in common with the standard Corolla. It rides on the same platform, the so-called GAC, one of the many variations of the TNGA architecture. Moreover, even the wheelbase is shared with the Corolla hatchback and goes slightly under 104 inches. And while we're speaking about commonalities with the Corolla hatchback, it's good to know that this SUV also comes with multi-link independent suspension, which definitely has a positive effect on the ride quality, whether it's about comfort or handling. Speaking of handling, the Corolla Cross acts pretty well on the road. It's easy to drive, maneuverable, and quite engaging for a small crossover. The only thing we don't like all that much is the steering, which feels a bit vague and doesn't provide much of the feedback from the road. When we were talking about the purpose of being the most rational choice, we were primarily thinking of low running costs. The Corolla Cross is affordable and, like any Toyota, it should be very reliable. But most importantly, it features excellent fuel economy. Of course, excellent primarily refers to the hybrid version, but the base gas-only version doesn't disappoint either. That model returns around 32 miles per gallon combined in the front-wheel drive version, while the all-wheel drive model returns also respectable 30 miles per gallon. However, the trade-off is the underwhelming performance because the naturally aspirated 2-liter inline-4 puts out no more than 169 horsepower. Moreover, it's coupled with a CVT, so it doesn't surprise me that it needs over 9 seconds to hit 60 miles per hour. For that reason, the hybrid is the obvious choice. It may cost more, but it gives way more in return. Based on a 2-liter inline-4 engine, the whole system puts out quite respectable 196 horsepower, while electric motors provide way better throttle response compared to the gas-only version. As a result, 0 to 60 takes no more than 7.5 seconds. The best of all is fuel economy, which goes all the way up to 45 miles per gallon city and 38 miles per gallon highway. But despite the impressive balance of power and efficiency, this is still a classic Toyota hybrid system. Simple and straightforward, meaning that it promises years of problem-free exploitation. Small crossovers often come with funky interior design solutions in order to cover up the obvious lack of build quality that is typical for this segment. The Corolla Cross, on the other hand, remains faithful to its philosophy and doesn't try to seduce buyers in that way. No, it remains purely focused on rationality and brings a cabin design that's conventional but decently attractive in its own way. If you like the Corolla's interior, you'll like the Corolla Cross as well, because the dashboard design is pretty much identical. There's the same layout with the same materials, organization of major controls, etc. Moreover, even the tech features are pretty much the same. The whole cabin is a mix of soft-touch materials and cheap plastics, and while that's quite typical for this segment, we could say it still looks nicer than most of its counterparts despite the dull dashboard design. Like in other aspects of this crossover, our overall opinion about the interior is divided. On one hand, the front seats are spacious and comfortable enough. On the other hand, the second row suffers from the fact that the wheelbase is shared with a tiny Corolla hatchback, so the natural amount of legroom is insufficient for the class, we'd say. We wish the wheelbase was rather the same as in the Corolla sedan, which is notably more comfortable than its 5-door sibling. Still, the crossover body style compensates for this lack in the way that the headroom is pretty decent. So, with the right seating position, adults can still enjoy a comfortable ride in the back. Once again, the Corolla Cross doesn't impress, but it doesn't disappoint either. The overall level of practicality is typical for this segment, though we would like to point out a few things. First of all, when it comes to the cargo area, there are around 22 cubic feet behind the second row, while the total cargo volume goes up to way over 60 cubic feet, which is actually quite impressive for a small SUV like this. Another thing worth mentioning is those small storage compartments around the cabin. There are several of them, though we wish they were a little bit bigger. The number of places where you can place your cups and bottles is also pretty decent. What's not so decent is the access to the rear seats. The narrow rear door opening is a limiting factor, especially if you have kids and have to install child seats. It's a little bit trickier compared to most other crossovers in the class, so if that's one of your major concerns, then you should definitely check some alternatives. The trim level organization and the amount of standard and available features depend on the powertrain choice. If you're fine with the gas-only version, then there are 3 versions available. The offer starts with the L trim. It's a pretty basic version that starts slightly under $25,000. It features steel wheels, but it also comes with goodies like LED headlights, heated exterior mirrors, an 8-inch infotainment system, wireless smartphone integration, a Wi-Fi hotspot, and a 6-speaker audio system. Typically for Toyota, the list of standard safety features is pretty long, so even the most basic Corolla Cross comes with forward collision warning, automatic emergency braking, lane departure warning, lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, and many more. For a little bit over $27,000, you can get the LE trim with upgrades like alloy wheels, rear privacy glass, roof rails, leather-wrapped steering wheel, automatic climate control, wireless charging, and a few safety upgrades, including blind spot monitoring and rear cross-traffic alert. Finally, the XLE is the best-equipped gas-powered Corolla Cross with a starting price of around $29,000. Among the upgrades, we can point out bigger wheels, digital instrument cluster, dual-zone climate control, heated front seats, parking sensors, LED fog lights, and many more. The cheapest Corolla Cross Hybrid wears the S badge, and it starts at around $29,300. Other than the powertrain upgrade, things aren't significantly different compared to the base gasoline version. Still, there are a few upgrades in terms of convenience features, such as the standard automatic climate control. Similarly to the LE, the SE trim brings a couple of convenience upgrades, such as a leather-wrapped steering wheel, additional USB ports, wireless charging, as well as safety features like blind spot monitoring and rear cross-traffic alert. It starts at around $30,700, but if you want, you can pay extra and get a few standalone options, such as a moonroof and a 9-speaker JBL audio system. The SE trim can also be upgraded visually if you opt for the Nightshade package, which adds 18-inch wheels, as well as a solid number of black and red interior and exterior details. A fully loaded Corolla Cross Hybrid would cost you around $32,500. That model, called the XSE, comes with pretty much everything Toyota has to offer in this small crossover, including leather upholstery, digital instrument cluster, ambient interior lighting, 10-way power adjustable driver's seat, front and rear parking sensors, dual-zone climate control, etc. Adaptive headlights, a premium JBL audio system, a power liftgate, and a moonroof are some upgrades you can opt for if you're willing to pay extra. What do you think of the 2024 Toyota Corolla Cross? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.